Hi everyone, Tam's here. Welcome back to another Tea Chat. Wow, it has been quite a while since I did one of these. I really didn't think you guys were interested in these types of videos because they really don't get that much in terms of views. But the people that do view them do seem to like them quite a bit, and I have gotten some requests to do one for you. So the topic I picked today was I thought I'd share with you how I have been spending the first half of the year in my creative and free time. I know I had shared for like New Year's resolutions and things like that that I was going to spend more time learning new things on my own versus teaching and doing and that sort of thing. So I thought I would catch you up on what's been happening with me. Okay, first off, the first half of the year is a really nice time to be in Florida, especially end of February, March, and April. The weather has been amazing, and all you want to do is be outside, eat outside, maybe walk, exercise, that sort of thing, and that's exactly what I've been doing. So it's no surprise that my garden has gotten the bulk of my free time this first half of the year. I had a ton to do in my garden. I have shared that the past 6 months we've had quite the extremes in weather down here in central Florida, and there was a lot to do. First, there was a lot of cleanup, and then in January, we often will have like one night or so where temperatures will dip down into the freezing levels, but we had a couple of significant freezes this year. So a lot of the tropicals that we have were gone. And the really nice thing about where I live in Central Florida, you can have such a variety of beautiful plants in this zone. And so it's not unusual for people like me to try lots of things. And I did learn what would not last in a freeze. So a lot of things had to come out, a lot of lessons were learned. We had already cleaned up a lot and edited a lot in the garden since the hurricane in the fall. So nice for me, the weather has been wonderful since then. So I have spent just about every weekend, evening, doing stuff in my garden, and it's really paying off. It's not completely done, and again, my garden project is just in the back of the house. I haven't even done a whole lot in the front yard yet, but I'm learning so much from what I'm doing in the back, and we actually hosted a little garden party for my nephew's college graduation. So that was a lot of fun, and again, my garden is not perfect, but everything was blooming for that. Everything that I had done was blooming for that, and I got such a lot of good feedback and compliments, and it just made me want to do more. So what my big project is this summer is I had an empty space, and this is all about, this really ties into what we've talked about in the past of using what you have to prompt your creativity. And I have a very limited garden budget, and applying that use what you have and be creative has just opened up so many doors for me in the garden. Just a totally different way of looking at things, and I am connecting my moon garden with my butterfly garden. The area in between those has been nothing for the past few years. I knew it would have to be kind of a shade garden because most of it is in the shade during the bulk of the day, and I just could not get a vision for what I wanted to do with that area. And lo and behold, as I was pulling things out, splitting them up, repotting things, moving things around, I was able to move a few things over into that shade garden. And as soon as I planted those things, I had a whole new perspective, a whole new view on how it could look. So right now we at least have an idea of where the path is going to go. If I have pictures, I will insert those for you. And I know it is going to be a Zen garden area, so I have some ideas and I'm already starting to play with it. I share a lot of this sort of thing on Instagram. YouTube has been one of those things that I did put on the back burner while I put a lot of other creative things and how I spend my free time. I gave it much more priority this first half of the year, and the garden has been one of them. Again, on my Instagram, I share garden updates and my stories, highlights. I don't really do a whole lot of photos in my photo feed, but the people that are interested in that do seem to enjoy it, and I do have some requests to see more of my garden, so you can find that on Instagram. The other area that has gotten a lot of my free time has been my reading time. I wanted to get back into reading. I had not been giving a lot of time to reading. I enjoy it, and I didn't understand why I wasn't doing more of it. It's very relaxing for me, so I mostly read in the evening before I go to bed. I try to break away from any screens. I don't watch a lot of TV at night, and I am in a book club this year. I'm enjoying it immensely. The ladies are fabulous. Just a few friends and friends of friends. We get together and have a potluck, and we pick books, and we just have a good time. Currently, we are reading, I'm so excited about this one, which is The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock. I don't know if you can see that. I'm really excited about this because I've heard a lot of the hype on BookTube. It's making the rounds, and a lot of my favorite booktubers like this book. So that's our current read for the month of May. And then last but not least, what am I doing with Paper Tams? I have been doing a lot of my own thing. I think I shared with you that I've shared a few journal flips. I'm trying to learn a lot more about watercolor. I have been very much inspired, I mentioned this before, by two channels, Burgess Taylor and Girl and Quill. I'll link them again. And they have really pushed in the past a using what you have theme. And I have shared how I have been creating my own journal inserts and using watercolor, practicing watercolor. I've shared a lot of this again on Instagram if you're interested. It's just easier for me to put these things on Instagram right now, and it's a lot more fun because Instagram is more of a community, and it's easier to find other like-minded people that are doing similar things and share techniques and ideas and that sort of thing. Now, as far as teaching classes like I've done in the past, I did share that I was going to limit that this year, and I have been asked to do some things, and actually some things I have had to turn down. Can you believe it? I did teach one class in January, and I am planning to teach a class in August. Both of those have, the January class and the class in August is for the Paper Seahorse in Tampa, Florida. There is a lot of preparation that's going into the August class. Even though I teach the same topics every year, either in libraries or at the Paper Seahorse, and sometimes I've done things at pin shows, I try to change it up a bit. I change up my kits. A lot of my kit packaging is handmade. It's all part of the fun. And so a lot of my free time has been devoted to getting ready for that class in August, and I'm really excited about that. Again, I do share some sneak peeks of what I might be teaching or what we're working on my Instagram feed. And then another way I have been using up what I have. Now, I think I showed you guys in the past that this studio is a working studio. It was a big mess earlier this year. And I did take the time because the last 3 weeks, now this has just been in the last 3 weeks, we have had so much rain. The rainy season has begun, and there's less time that I can spend in the garden. It's also starting to heat up, and there will be very little time that I can spend in the garden once summer gets here and we're in the heart of the rainy season. So I did take a whole Sunday and cleaned up, well, what I call cleaned up, the studio, and really tackled my supply closet and started organizing and taking inventory of materials. It really was eye-opening how much stuff I had that I was not using. These were things that were either bought in bulk for classes that I teach and kit making, and there was just some leftovers, and I didn't want to repeat those or use them again. Things I had bought and thought I would want, but only used a portion of it. So I have really been seeking out ways to use this stuff. Some of it I can donate, of course, to, you know, craft groups and things like that. But I've really been looking for ways to use up this stuff, and so I've shared this before. I did it last summer. I'm back to altering a lot of things. I've enjoyed that. I like to alter Rolodex cards, and I've found a group of Rolodex artists or altered Rolodex artists that like to swap those things. I've This same group likes to swap other handmade pieces of art like ATCs and zines, and I have just fallen in love with doing that. So I have found a group of people that like swapping those things with me, and it's been so much fun to see how I can use product in a different way and put it to good use. So yeah, so a lot of that has been happening. I'm actually enjoying my creativity time and artwork and things like that, instead of worrying about, you know, how is it going to look on a video, or how can I turn this into a video, and just the amount of time that it takes to put a video together just kind of sucks out the joy of making things and our creative time. And my creative time is such a benefit for me. It helps me in so many other areas. So when I take the time to lose myself in my garden, or lose myself in my studio to make something, or lose myself in a book, it helps me in other areas. It helps me with my day job. It makes me more creative with my family. It makes me more creative in the kitchen. I once shared a story on Instagram. It's gone now because I didn't keep it up there. And I just wanted to share how you can be creative in your kitchen and just go through your pantry and use what you have. And I got so many compliments and a lot of feedback on that video. So I did want to ask you guys if you'd be interested in seeing, not cooking videos, but if you'd be interested in seeing like how I apply creativity into my lifestyle, because I do have a tagline called Bon Vivant on a Budget, which means living the good life on a budget. And that takes a lot of creative energy to be able to do that. And if you'd like to see more things like that, I'd love to hear from you. And last but not least, this year I have been asked to do some product reviews. I have turned down some, but I have one that I'm working on this summer. I'm actually really excited about it. I will be sharing some more videos about this, but someone that has seen my watercolor adventures in my Midori Traveler's Notebook has asked me to actually take a look at, this is the Traveler's Notebook spiral bound watercolor notebook, and I have been asked to give my input on how I would use this notebook, and I'm really excited because I already had some ideas about some things I wanted to do with watercolor and notebooks and things like that this summer. It just, you know, you have to test things out and do some trial and error work, and that just takes time in the studio. But hopefully now that I've cleaned it up and I've jumped back in and I'm enjoying it, I'll be able to tackle something like this the way it should be tackled, so I can give them good feedback and my honest feedback, and maybe inspire other people to use it in a similar way. So that's about it. This video may be a little longer than normal, but I did promise a few people I would get back on here with a tea chat and let you know how things are going. I probably will be able to make a lot more videos this summer because I will be in the house more on the weekends if we're not out, and I'll have more time for the studio and editing videos and things like that. So if there is something that you have been wanting to see, I've got a whole list of how-to videos that have been ongoing. I just haven't had the time to make them, but if there's a particular topic you'd like to see, or a project, or a how-to that you are interested in, maybe you saw it on my Instagram. I get a lot of feedback through my Instagram photos, and people want to know how I did something, how I made something. I will see if I can get it on the list, and we'll work on it this summer. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.